What is it?
I was looking at those.
This is a P900. This is a P1000.
What do you think? Good cameras?
Good for what we do, yes. They're cheaper than buying a full Nikon set, easier to carry, and they will zoom in to a rat on the moon.
Well, that is what we want.
Yeah. They've also got manual focus, so you can zoom in with the automatic, switch to manual, and then do the manual for the last three to get beyond the leaves and the branches to the eyeball behind them, which is what we're trying to get. So that's the way to do it now.
And what are they extremely ineffective against again?
Ineffective against.
The UFOs flying over the cow pasture, sir.
Take pictures of those because they're
They don't have the connection.
figments of our imagination, unless you're using night vision goggles, and then they're right there in front of you.
So after we packed up the gear, we made the trip out to Research Area 4, and Scott and Mel and I headed in for the first trip into the area in quite a while. And this was going to be Scott's first time witnessing Melanie and I bringing the Sasquatch to us, and they didn't disappoint.
One of the drawbacks to researching in these environments is the American alligator is always present somewhere. These opportunities when this basin is flooded, for there to be a 10 to 12 foot alligator, that's something that can happen anytime. So we're skirting these places and trying to stay out of the water by going on the edges. But the gators have been here for so long, and they're so instinctive at ambush hunting that literally you could cut through right here and he doesn't see what it is. He's thinking it's a hog, it's a deer, it's not what we are. He could be submerged right here on the side, and you'd never know it. So you go walking through here on the edge, and next thing you know, you got a 600-pound reptile attached to your right leg or your left leg or something. So being real cautious about staying far enough away, if you can, is real important. But this is something we always have to take into consideration, man. You know, we don't want to end up one of those stories that you hear on the 6 o'clock news. It's like an incident, you know? So, what do you got?
I got movement right there.
Mel had made a few calls, and here it was. Here it is, man. Branch snapping. Here it is again. Now I'm sure Scott was a little taken back. We walked, a mile into the area, and I said, Mel, do your thing, man. And Scott and I prepped the gear, and he put on the parabolic, and when Melanie started calling, they came. There's no two ways about it. All three of us witnessed it, and it was really cool having somebody there that was witnessing what really has been happening for almost 5 years now. They respond to us, and they came from all different directions, and it was loud, it was bipedal walking, and then they started breaking huge branches. Here's that break again. there was no getting around it, and it got tense for a minute there because we were expecting somebody to just come right up into those bushes you're staring at and part them and start staring at us. We all heard what was going on, and I believe Scott was recording on audio. We're going to work on that, getting that for you guys so you can check out the audio. It was really cool having not been there for a while and having him respond like that, like within a minute of her starting to call. There were huge bipedal walking, pushing through bushes moving, and then bam, the branches started snapping. Like I said, Scott had the parabolic on and recorded some audio, and we'll work on getting that and see what comes from it. One of the things that I do to catch the creatures on film is I put myself in the hunter's position, and I try to imagine where I'd need to be in these areas to observe key spots. And one of the key spots is this weed point that juts out into the trail. And I would be sitting there watching to see if deer or hogs were coming down this trail. And I've examined this place, and inside this weed point is a ditch they can lay in, and just their heads stick out above it. This is a Bigfoot watching us. As this clip develops, you're going to be able to see hundreds and hundreds of frames of this creature with an apexed head and white skin. This creature has achromatic skin that blends in. It picks up all of that diffusion and that glow coming off those plants that the human eye has trouble seeing, right? It's all broadcasting onto its face, giving you the impression that this thing's green, when in reality, it's just the glow coming off the plants all around it, changing its colorless form into whatever the environment says it should look like. So the sunlight is confusing our eyes, trying to make us think that that thing isn't there watching us. If you'd like to learn more about your own visual limitations and how they're holding you back where this species is concerned, if you'd like to understand more about your own visual limitations, it starts right here. Science has already concluded that we only see about 1/3 of 1% of our entire environment because our vision's so limited. In the end, basically, we know nothing about the world around us. We can't see it. It's as if we're children walking around in a world of predators and don't even know it. This kind of information is disturbing. And when I first learned it, I was looking for explanations for what I had seen. I'd seen one of these creatures in this exact piece of forest that you're staring at this one in. And he was in between two trees in bright sunlight. And I was looking at him, and he was plainly visible. And yet the color changing that was going on this creature's body and his face, it didn't look like a hominoid. It didn't look like a human, a man, a giant hairy man. It looked like it was a part of the forest. It looked strange. And then, all at once, the clouds cut off the sun, and there was a Sasquatch standing there staring at me. Only he was bright white in his skin, and his hair appeared to be shimmering silver. Even in the overcast conditions. What we're missing as human beings on planet Earth is everything.